Great seeing you in our next video in our masterclass on project management. We are still in the chapter of dependencies, precedence diagramming, and critical path calculations. And in this video, I'm going to look a little bit deeper into the calculations. And the question I want to address here is, do we start with the calculation from 0 or from 1? What we're going to calculate are the early start, early finish, late start, and the late finish. And it's very important to see because I've seen different people reacting on the calculations. I see in PMI they start from 1, some people start from 0, and basically both methods are or should be resulting in the same outcome, the same early start, early finish, late start, and late finish times. But there are some differences. First, we have to compare them with cardinal and ordinal numbers. Then we look at the calculations with those numbers, and we find the formulas for the calculations starting from 0 or starting from 1. There are some advantages when we start from 0, and we also look at the precedence formulas starting from 0 and the precedence formulas starting from 1. So let's first have a quick look at cardinal and ordinal numbers. So just imagine here we have a timeline, and the bottom timeline we have cardinal numbers. So we have the coordinates on the line 0, 1, 2, and so on. In the top line we see the ordinal numbers. So between 0 and 1 we have the first day. Between 1 and 2 is the second day, and so on. So when we look at the years, the first year was year 1, and we finished the century. The last year of the millennium, the second millennium, was to the year 2000, and the third millennium started at 2001. So there is a difference in calculations. And when we look at the activities, I took here 3 activities. One activity of 3 periods, one of 5 periods, and one of 2 periods. When we look at the ordinal numbers, and here we look at the order, right? The first, the second, and it's like the dates in the calendar. And the cardinal numbers, we use them for counting. We have coordinates, and we have points in time. So, points in time, not pounds in time, points in time. And we can use, or we can find out when we calculate from 1 or from 0. When we start calculating from 0, we use the cardinal numbers, and when we start calculating from 1, we use the ordinal numbers. Let's have a look at those formulas. So we have our activities again, and when we look at the first activity, let's start with the ordinal numbers. Activity 1 starts on day 1, for example, at 9 a.m., and the finish of activity 1 is the 3rd at 5 p.m. We assume that the working day is going from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening. When we use the cardinal number, then the activity 1 starts in the point 0 and finishes in the point 3, because it's 3 periods, 3 days, let's say. The second time, the second activity, the start of that activity will start the finish time of activity 1, but plus 1 the next day. So when activity 1 finishes on the 3rd in the evening, the activity 2 can only start the 4th in the morning. So we have the finish of 1 plus 1, so it's day 4 at 9 a.m., and we finish at the start, day 4, plus 5 minus 1. So we have 5 days, 4 plus 5 is 9, but we see that we finish on the 5th, so we have to subtract 1 day to have the correct end time. For the cardinal numbers, it's a little bit easier, because the start of activity 2 is equal to the finish of activity 1, and that's the point 3. The finish of activity 2 is the start of 2 plus 5, which is the point 8. And then the last part, and here we can continue with the formulas, and we can already write the formulas. The start of the follow-up activity, when we use ordinal numbers, is the finish of the predecessor plus 1, and the finish of the successor is equal to the start of the successor plus the duration minus 1. So in this case, the activity will start at the 9th at 9 a.m. and 9 plus 2 minus 1 is 2, so the activity will finish on the 10th at 5 p.m. The general formula for the ordinal numbers, the cardinal numbers is again easier, so the finish of the start of the successor is equal to the finish of the predecessor, and the finish of the predecessor is equal of the start of the predecessor plus the duration. Calculating from 0 has some advantages, and it's, let's say, we are working with events and basically not working with dates. When you start from 1, you're using a calendar to plan the project. And you say that you're working on the working days from the start of the day till the end of the day. For example, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. When we work with events starting from 0, you also have the possibility to have decimals and work with real numbers, and not only with positive integers. So when you use ordinal numbers, the dates are not having decimals. We use day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on. And using decimals, it will also give you the possibility to apply the PERT data, the PERT estimates, on your schedule. So you can schedule immediately with the 3-point estimates that you calculated, because they can have decimals. And that's also an advantage, and that's how it was used in the original PERT method. When we look at the precedence formula starting from 0, here we have the different formulas. We have the start of the successor is equal to the finish of the predecessor. We have the finish of the successor is equal to the start of the successor plus the duration. And with the forward pass, we can say that the early start of I plus 1 is equal to the early finish of I. And that's what we represent here, just using early start and the index. Early finish of the successor is equal to the early start of the successor plus the duration. And with the backward pass, we basically go in the other direction. We start from the late finish to calculate the late start, and we take the late finish minus the duration. So these are the different elements that we can use when we're using the different formulas. The precedence formulas are a little bit different when we start from 1. So we apply the same principle here. We have to take into consideration that we have plus duration minus 1. So these are the formulas for the forward pass and for the backward pass. So that's it for the topic about do we start from 0 or do we start from 1. And you also have the different formulas to do these calculations. That's it for this video. I thank you for watching this video. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Thank you and bye-bye.